I see some dogs among us. I see Mila keeping company here up in the choir. I see Delise. What's your friend's name, Delise? Miss California, sitting up very tall in her pew, taller than Delise. She sits very tall. And I know there's at least one more in the back. It's good to have our four-legged friends with us. We'll get to them a little later. Did you know that in any major city in the U.S., and we have maybe still do, more dogs than children? Yeah, dogs. And plenty of cats, too. We don't have any pets at our house right now. So when I think about animal companions in my life, I have to go back a few decades. I can see my 12-year-old self sitting in the fall sunshine on the back porch of the blue 1890s farmhouse that I grew up in. I'm holding one of my 4-H chickens. I've got a blue bandana triangle holding my hair away from my face, and I have braids coming down over my shoulders. I'm wearing my Poultry Club t-shirt, the one with the picture of the chick hatching out of an egg, and I have this bantam hen nestled in my lap. She was a buff Brahma. So pretty, and she had such personality. She loved to pose on the show table and stand just so. She was about this big, smooth, fluffy, golden brown feathers, black lacing on her cape all around her neck, little brown feathers fanning out from her feet, and curious little eyes watching everything happening. And sitting in my lap, she was soft and fluffy and warm. Her little chicken murmurs and clucks sounded like safety and satisfaction. And she was happy, and so was I. I do recognize that my delight in chickens makes me weird. Most of you are probably more into dogs and cats and bunnies. We had rabbits too, but that was my brother's thing. I was more into chickens. Did you know there's only one breed of turkeys? And that the color of a hen's earlobes will tell you what color eggs she lays? Or that chickens have a whole range of vocalizations and vocabularies to talk to each other? But I digress. If you ever want to talk poultry, I'm here for you. Relationships with animals are good for us. Many of us, even those who don't have our own pets, can probably attest to the calming effect of sitting with an animal and petting an animal. Scientific studies have shown that just 10 minutes of petting an animal reduces cortisol, the primary stress hormone that our body produces. And while our cortisol and our anxiety are going down, our oxytocin, that's the hormone that increases our feelings of love and belonging and bonding, it's going up. Cortisol down, oxytocin up, and it turns out our animals experience elevated oxytocin from the very same interaction of petting them. What's good for them is good for us, and vice versa. God created animals and humans to have this positive connection. Connection is at the heart of who we are at Trinity. Our centering values are about welcome and beauty, community and neighbors, all about connection. Connection with every unique person who walks through our doors, connection with the holy who creates and inspires beauty that we see and feel and hear, connection and care for those we know, for our neighbors and our neighborhood, and all creation. We are a community that loves to connect through eating, praying, having fun together, singing, serving, learning, all the ways we connect. We nurture our relationships with God and creation and one another. Relationships take intention and work. Talking about our values helps us envision the faithful, joy, and justice-filled life we want to live as followers of Jesus. And then comes the work, the breath-to-breath, day-to-day living into those values. Jesus tells the synagogue elders that they have to decide where they think John's authority comes from, heaven or earth, before he will tell them about the source of his authority. And when they can't decide what to say, Jesus reminds us that his way is more concerned with what we do than what we say we will do. How we show up, the way we show our connections and care for one another, for God, for our neighbors, for our animals, these are more important to our faith than the words we use. Each of us has values, core beliefs that help us decide what's important in all kinds of choices in life. If we value sustainable resources, that could influence our choices about whether we eat meat or bring our own bags to the grocery store or create habits for conserving water and electricity. Conserving water and electricity. A value for a safe community or meeting basic human needs could affect how we save and spend money, give to charity, or what kinds of volunteer or paid work that we do. Our values influence every decision we make. How we regard our bodies and health, how we interact with people, how we use our time, how we respect and care for animals and the land, acknowledge our own privileges, how we value money and possessions and education. Our values shape our connections in ways we may not realize. I think back about my 12-year-old self with my fuzzy chicken, learning and living values that I couldn't articulate when I was 12, about connection with all living beings, about caring for others, about where food comes from, about seasons and cycles of life, because chickens don't live forever. It's life. About our connection with the earth. We choose connection. I invite you this week to choose to connect in new ways, to say hello to someone you don't recognize, to attend a coffee hour, join a service project, meet your next door neighbors, plant a tree, work in a garden, pet a dog or a cat. Doesn't even have to be your own, or even a chicken. Let the value of connection influence how we take care of one another, our animals, and all of creation. What values center your life? What priorities shape your decisions? I invite you to notice this coming week what you value and how those values shape your decisions.